He says you can't do anything. Oh, but for real, like if your opponent gets a surge advantage, and it's by design. So there's this. You know what? I'm just gonna show you. I'm gonna show you the video. I'm gonna show you the video. Can I somehow stop the music of this game? Oh, I know how to do it. I know how to do it. Hold up. Stop the music. Where is it? There we go. I'm gonna show you this video. You might have seen it if you were here. Arguments. Let's see. No. Tetris. I forgot Tetris from this. Da, 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 da. Bomb Solomon says, I would still use Tetrio if I did another amateur hour team tournament, but I have set aside TL. So many people have quit TL. So there's this video by Garbo from 4 years ago or something. See, February 13, 2021. That's the start of the demise. You know, like he was cooking Surge for apparently 3 years at least, discounting the amount of time spent in developing. So let's look at this thing and see if you actually see it. Do you hear it?
From being an S tier argument for me is that it really doesn't affect most of the player base, but it's still a big fundamental flaw that needs to be ironed out. But
so he says that downstacking is OP. I kind of ended up skipping through that. Ah! No! What the? Okay.
Alright, now with the B tier done, we can start getting into some of the really good arguments.
So this is gonna be interesting to us.
These are all ones I totally agree with and talk about all the time. Also, with each of these, I'll be giving my reasons why they aren't S tier. With that being said, let's get into our first
There's literally
argument.
Just one
Downstacking is OP.
There's literally just one A-tier
so
argument.
This argument is something that will make a lot more sense the better you get at the game. Basically, once you get good enough at downstacking, it's the solution to pretty much every problem you face. The reason is because garbage is free lines, so instead of stacking up, you can use your garbage and be several times more efficient.
This
the
is
only
still
game that's
true
really free
season
from this
2.
problem is Puyo Puyo Tetris, and that's because the game has a ton of line clear delay and cheesy garbage, making upstacking much more viable. If you watch any higher level play, downstacking is pretty much always the right choice when available. This has kind of led to the Tetris meta being one where people don't take any risks, because being safe is also the most efficient way of attacking.
This is literally
the
problem with season 2.
Such as QMK's infinite downstack, where he
Bomb Solomon says, Zun, I don't watch videos like this. I can feel it infecting my algo. Well, I luckily opened it in Bing and not directly on YouTube. So it's not gonna affect anything about my algorithms. Dude, you should not see, like, I have 2 accounts on YouTube. One of them is the one you know, the other one you don't. And I'm getting these weird AI generated videos on like how you should save either 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 and 500,000 dollars into a savings account and become rich and financially independent. And they're like, oh my God, I'm so fast at this. It will just take you 15 years. And I'm like, this is not solving my problem. And I'm like, why am I even getting all these videos? Why are they making so many of these? Why are they AI generated? It's so weird. Like YouTube, my regular YouTube account is falling apart. It's falling apart. The zhunGamer account, that one is still okay. It's getting Korean food and Tetris. These are the 2 things. And I don't know, something. There were EVs at some point, but it was really strange videos, not gonna lie. Okay, so
downstacks the entire game until he finds a good combo and then wins.
But downstacking into a good combo is cool. That's literally the most interesting part. When you downstack the cheesy lines and you find a combo and you win. This is why the combo multiplayer in Tetris season 1 was so fun to watch. What is wrong with this man?
Now don't get me wrong, downstacking still takes a lot of skill to do, and not everyone can downstack well, but that doesn't mean it can't be overpowered. Generally, as you go up in skill level, you'll see downstacking become more and more important until it eventually becomes the entire game at the highest levels of play.
This says
the only
that
thing
even
stopping
though
this
it's
from being an S tier argument for me is that it really doesn't affect most of the player base, but
Bob Salon says, Zun, I don't want to listen to this person talk. I get it's their video from 4 years ago, but my God, their delivery. Okay, so the reason why we're listening is not because we like it. it's not because we like it, but because he is the one responsible for back-to-back surge the way it is, and this video is an explanation for what he was trying to solve with it, and we are here to analyze how almost none of it is solved. So we have to listen to it, okay? Just bear with it.
It's still a big fundamental flaw that needs to be ironed out. But yeah, all in all, A tier.
So apparently his problem is that you have to clear lines instead of upstacking, and apparently this is an A tier problem. Think about that for a moment. So if you tank garbage lines and you can clear that, then that's somehow a problem. Okay? Like cheese is not easy. You're being sent all these lines. Like going down is not that easy. So apparently, according to Garbo, I guess, the solution here would have been to like not tank free lines, because I don't know, like he says that you have to like not take any risks because you can't upstack because you're gonna get sent too many lines, so you keep comboing and downstack. But one, comboing is risky. Combing is actually kind of risky. Like you can easily mess up your board and you immediately die. That used to happen to me a lot more. That's why you learn the SRS spins. You learn how to flatten your board, you know? Like even now, we were playing Tetra Esports. I was struggling to stay alive, but we were doing okay with that. But it's not enough to win. So there's a little bit of balance there, in a sense that you're not downstacking because you're not gonna win the game with downstacking, okay? But the game doesn't say that, oh, you're not meant to downstack ever. Like if you don't downstack, you will get pushed up and you die. Like you can't just keep full canceling in Tetra Esports, because if you keep full canceling in Tetra Esports, you're still not gonna send your opponent up at all, you know? You have to push your opponent up. If they don't get pushed out, then they will not lose. You have to make them lose. So thankfully in Tetra Esports, it's not all about full cancel. You need to cancel some things, but not everything. It's not Tetrio Season 2, where the goal is to full cancel everything, never have any garbage, and then just, I don't know, because you were faster with the full cancel, you have a 50 surge and you win. Because that's what it was made for, a kill switch.
Alright, that's it for the A tier.
But you're
now
gonna
let's
hear
get to
that
the best
soon.
of the best. This tier has stuff that's pretty much core to modern Tetris, and the game would need to be restructured and played entirely differently to solve them. Let's get to the first S tier pick, being always 100%.
This is the one I hate the most, by the way. Just be prepared. Like this argument, be prepared for it. I feel like it is like the number one reason that is like not an actual proper S tier argument about the game, but it is the thing that Garbo hated about it. This is the one thing he tried to solve with back-to-back surge and somehow made it worse, but you'll hear what he says.
Always 100% is an argument that has to do with the pacing and different game states at mid to high level play. It goes like this. Tetris is a game that suffers from terrible pacing. The path from the start of a round to when someone tops out has no build-up. If you watch, say, a Jester's Cup VOD, you'll see that the state of the game resets constantly, and people just play until someone dies through either a mid-strop or a big downstack combo. Whether the round ends in 30 seconds, 1 minute, or 2 minutes, it's all the same. Due to the temporary nature of garbage, only the last garbage line really matters, so the line between living and dying is very thin. I describe this as a game being at 100% intensity all the time. Now, having a game always at 100% intensity might not sound bad, but it actually makes the game pretty stale to both play and watch. There's a kind of yin and yang effect, where if the game is at 100% all the time, there's nothing special about any of it, and nothing really stands out. You could almost describe the game as anticlimactic. In a fighting game, you lower your opponent's HP, so the danger increases as the game goes on. In a MOBA, farming and getting kills in the early game will give you a tangible advantage, which can be snowballed into taking objectives and winning the game. In both of these examples, a win is the result of events that happened before it. However, what happens at the end of a Tetris round will usually be the only thing that's relevant to the win, and pretty much everything that happened before it doesn't matter. This argument has a lot in common with downstacking as OP, so it's not huge early on, but it becomes more relevant as the skill level increases and people are better at downstacking.
Oh my god! This is still as mind-boggling. I cropped out the part where he talks about the MOBA because some people who really hate season 2 also know this. They say that this game plays less like Modern versus Tetris and more like a freaking MOBA. And why would I play League of Legends with blocks? That's what he said. And I was like, finally someone says the same thing I did. But it gets somehow even worse. Like this entire argument is based on the idea that Modern versus Tetris is boring to watch. Like season 2 was designed by someone who hates modern. They hated Modern versus Tetris 4 years ago. So of course we get whatever the heck this is. But there's one more S tier arguments. I kind of want to lead into that.
Anyways, this one's an easy S tier for me,
S
as it makes
tier,
competitive
of
versus
course.
Tetris terrible to watch, and it also makes it pretty stale to play relative to other deeper games.
What is wrong with this person, dude? He's like, oh, it's not deep enough. Like making the TSDs and the quads and downstacking and comboing, you know? Like, basically the argument is that he wants to watch Guilty Gear Strive or League of Legends, but he's freaking stuck. Bob Salva says, I never watched React Contact and I am here for this. Well, this is Tetra Esports in a nutshell. Why are we playing Tetra Esports instead of Tetrio Season 2? I feel like it's a good thing that we're doing this, you know? I don't know if it is actually a good thing, but I sincerely hope that people, I don't know, maybe Osk realizes that people just don't enjoy playing Season 2. Like, Surge is nice for quick play. It's nice for quick play, but Royale is dead, okay? Royale is dead because of Surge, and honestly, well, Tetra League is losing its players. Like 16,000 players have abandoned Tetra League at this point. And I feel like it's gonna grow even more unless they announce the end of Season 2 and they start bringing in Season 3. So what's the next argument again?
For our last one, this is in my opinion the best argument against the current design of Modern vs Tetris. As the final pick on our list in S tier, we have action and reaction.
This is the thing that the guy kinda had going in Season 1, by the way, with like plonking being viable and utterly destroyed it with Surge. But let's wait for him to explain it.
In pretty much any competitive PvP game, there's a lot of actions that you'll take that will elicit a response from your opponent. For example, if I were to throw a projectile and smash, my opponent will probably be forced to either jump, shield, or get hit. In this case, there's an action and a reaction. However, in Tetris, the garbage is extremely unintrusive. It never really requires you to change your plan, since you usually just expect it to be coming anyways. I'd even go as far as to say that you don't really react to garbage, but it's more like an obstacle to act upon. For an example of an abstract versus puzzle game having interactive gameplay, let's look at Puyo Puyo. There's 3 factors that make the chaining gameplay have actions and reactions. That is, it takes time to build chains, it takes time to resolve a chain, and garbage comes from the top and covers your Puyos. For these reasons, players will develop a main chain, but they'll also try and take shots at their opponent through smaller chains that resolve quickly. What both players do relies heavily on what their opponent is doing. If one of these can connect, they'll cover their opponent's board with garbage, allowing them to resolve their main chain safely and claim the win. Compare that with Tetris, where you only gain a marginal advantage by acknowledging your opponent's existence. The point being, since there's proper risk and reward attached to things, and since you can disrupt your opponent directly, they've created interaction. Even with things like timing, it really doesn't feel like interaction. When you time, it usually just boils down to waiting for your opponent to send to cancel or waiting for them to send to accept. So yeah, I believe that it's impossible for Versus Tetris to work competitively in its current form, with their—
What does he want? Okay? Like, what does he want timing to be in this game? Like, that kind of makes me wonder though. Like, what else is that? That's the game. Like, so there's this problem, he says, that just clearing lines is bad because you're focused too much on clearing lines and being defensive. Just going upstack is, well, not really a problem because you don't have to care about garbage anyway, because why would you? Apparently you don't have to care about your opponent, but if you do care about the opponent, you know, Like you look at their board, you see them sending, and so strategically you decide: should I cancel? Should I tank? What should I do? Wait for your opponent to make a mistake and only then send your attack. Then apparently screen watching at this point, like being aware of your opponent's board state and making decisions based on that, is somehow also a problem. Like it doesn't make sense to me. Like the whole point, like if you plonk, like if you tank the garbage, you waited for it, you get the free quads in Tetrio, and your opponent basically overextended to send you free lines, and you sent it back. You sent a fractal quad, and the quad came from them, and this allowed you to take them down because you sent a 20 spike. Meanwhile, they had nothing left to guard with because they had just sent it, not realizing that you are in a good position. Like that is strategic gameplay. So that was action reaction. I see that my opponent sent their stuff. They don't have what they need. How do you guard? Guarding is when you don't place the piece somewhere to tank, but instead you send your attack and cancel it in your garbage queue. That's what guarding means in this context. So like because the garbage comes in and it goes into your garbage queue on the left, right? So you can either decide, okay, do I wait for a piece in my hand so that I can place that on the right, tank the entire garbage as it is, and then send a counter spike. So like tank counter spike gameplay, plonking, was a thing in season 1, but it is highly discouraged in season 2. Because apparently, if you have actual reaction where you sometimes wait for your opponent, that's apparently just bad pacing, apparently. Like, why care about the opponent? he says it as a negative, that having to time things is like not interesting, but what else is there really? I don't really know what he expects from this. I do know that back-to-back surge utterly destroyed any sense of action reaction. You start OSPin singling in a corner, you kind of guard with it innately because every OM mini will either just combo and keep the back-to-back. You have a 20 surge, you almost always win.
There being very little interaction between the players.
Very little interaction. How is like looking at the surge counter go up, no counterplay whatsoever, and then you die. What was the interaction there, Garbo? Tell me. What's the interaction in surge? Like when you look at the 32 surge, what am I supposed to interact with? I'm dead, and you know this. Because that one doesn't solve this problem whatsoever. It is theoretically meant to solve the two things: that one, he thinks that clearing lines with combos is bad and boring because JS3 had it, and the other half being that because in a MOBA you can last hit some monsters, get some extra gold, and you should get a win if you play it so well by never interacting with any garbage and never ever having to look at your opponent because you just go so much faster that you full cancel everything they send. Bomb Solomon says, Zun, I have to press my 4 surge against your 55 surge with terror in my eyes. That's the thrill, don't you see? Like, there's so much fun in, like, looking at the number, and he said, honestly, there's nothing you can do at this point. And there was nothing you could ever do at this point because you were playing too slow. Season 2 has no timing whatsoever. There's no action reaction. There's nothing you can do if you're at a disadvantage.
In the end,
and that's why you open them in every
depth
game
than you'd ever imagine.
That's what I do anyway,
now,
and I got
say
tired
that
of
Tetris
it.
Garbage needs to be disruptive, but more like there should be some kind of way to disrupt your opponent, or cause them to reconsider their moves. In Versus, even if you see your opponent making a horrible mistake, such as a huge misdrop, it's not like your plan really changes, since you still need to try and send more garbage. For these reasons, I'll be putting action and reaction in the S tier, finishing off our list.
Yes, you punish them by seeing them get into a bad decision, and then you send the attack at that time. That's action reaction. And we had that in season 1. You just had to tank sometimes. It's crazy to me, man. It's crazy. Like back-to-back search didn't solve any of this. Like they assume that when you see your opponent misdrop, you send your search to punish, but nobody plays like that. They just spam everything. They just spam what they can every second. Like it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. You look at the two sides and they're doing all mini modern score attacks. Someone's search will go up and whoever goes up faster wins. Like it's so boring. Everything that I used to watch that was interesting got boring from this because combo downstack quads were like the it does take skill. Like the whole idea here is that it doesn't take enough skill to be interesting. That's what this thing says. But I don't think that's true. Like that was the most fun thing in this freaking game. I don't know, man. Like, what do you think?